Hello everybody, and I'm Granddaddy Love Cars, and I got another amazing video for y'all. Today we're gonna make a top pros and cons of a Dodge Challenger RT. Now I will say this is an older year Challenger RT, but it's still very similar to the Challenger RT now, so I'm gonna just keep it generalized. Although learn a whole bunch of differences, there are some, but just a disclaimer, this is older year than 2019-20 Challenger RT. But without any more information, just let's get started. Let's do it. So the first pro of this engine is this 5.7 liter V8 Hemi engine. Mopar, performance, power. This engine puts out 372 horsepower, and if I'm not mistaken, 410 pound-feet of torque. That's very good base power for a V8. It's good. This car, you know, it takes off and everything very well, so that's good. The first con I will say of this vehicle is that when you get a Challenger, any Dodge product that's RT, you get the basic V8. I don't want to say basic, but you get the 5.7 liter V8. There's a Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep make a lot of engines, from the 3.6 liter V6 all the way up to the Hellcat Red Eye engine. So like I said, this is just a get you in the game engine, and you know there's a lot of more different engines that could possibly be in here. The second pro of this vehicle is still the engine. Although this is one of the smaller and less powerful V8s of Dodge, it's still V8, and it's a push-rod engine, which means you can add performance parts from heads to cam to different lifters, different this, different that, new intake, everything. You can really beef it up. And since it is a push-rod, it's not overly complicated. So, you know, it's different from other engines to upgrade and change out. But you must get somebody who knows what they're doing with these Hemi engines, because there's certain things that Hemi engines do and don't like, and certain tuning procedures that they do and don't like. But you can definitely put power to this motor. The second con of this vehicle is that although the wheels and tires are nice, is that the brakes, unless you want to pay hundreds to even over $1,000 more to upgrade to a Brembo brake option, those are essentially just basic brakes. It's not any special performance brakes. It's just same brakes essentially that you will get on any other V6 model, Challenger or Charger. They're not very big. They're not extremely large. They're not anything special. The rotors are not drilled or slotted. It's just a basic brake. The third pro of this vehicle is that what can you tell when you initially look at this vehicle? It's large, which means you have more space inside than a Camaro and a Mustang. This car is big, and although this is the base, you know, RT base V8 engine you can get with them, even when you have the Scat Pack, which is the 392 6.4 liter, the Hellcat Red Eye, or the Demon, they still are very large, which means there's more room, there's more space, and it's just a more comfortable vehicle as a whole, especially when you want to compare it to its direct rivals, the Camaro and the Mustang. The third con of this vehicle, which is not only a problem with the RT, but nearly all trim levels of the Challenger and Charger, which is the tire size. This is a 245/45/20 tire, which means 245 millimeters across, is not wide at all. That is the same size as my mother's Acura TL, which is not necessarily an extreme performance sedan. This car has this big, powerful V8, and it only has 245 wide tires. That is not enough. Now, even the same problem is on the Scat Pack trim. All four corners are 245 with tires. Now, they do have the option to get 275 with, but that is not enough for this much power. Even when you buy a base Hellcat, unless you get the wide body, it has 275 standard, which is not enough for that much power. So that's one con that is an issue. 245s on all four corners is not large enough for this much power. The fourth pro of this car is that, unlike the Camaro Mustang, this is a 5-passenger vehicle. 1, 2, 3, and 2 passengers in the front. Like I said, this car is very much more spacious than the Camaro and Mustang, and I will also like to add it has more visibility when you're driving than the Camaro and the Mustang. The fourth con is that although this is a very spacious vehicle for a coupe, don't forget that it's still a coupe. Although there's more space than you'll get by far than a Camaro or a Mustang, it's still a coupe. So you can see right here that it's more, but someone like me driving that 6'3" and they need the seat back more, it's gonna be still a little bit tight, especially if you try to fit a taller person back here. Now, for the fifth pro and con, Granddaddy gonna tell y'all backwards. The fifth con for this vehicle is the exhaust. Why? Because although this is a V8, 5.7 liter, nearly 400 horsepower V8, the factory exhaust sounds good, but it is not that loud. And especially on this year model, the mufflers there, I wanna say one thing a lot of people don't know. On these vehicles, Challengers and Chargers, the muffler, some people call mid muffler and rear muffler. No, that is actually wrong. Right nearly here underneath the car where the exhaust is, that is the actual muffler. Sorry, people are lighting fireworks. And at the rear that you can literally touch with your hand, that is the resonator. The muffler's design is to muffle the sound of the exhaust, but yet give it a certain tone. A resonator is to kill the sound so it does not make a loud, annoying drone in your vehicle. So a lot of people don't really know which one is which on this car, because on standard vehicles, the resonators are here and the mufflers are here, but on this vehicle, it's swapped. The mufflers are here and the resonators are here. So back to what I was saying, although this car sounds good factory, it's not very loud. And this vehicle, like I said, we call it the suitcase. The mufflers that here are literally about this wide, this long, this wide, and it's like a big just trunk that just deletes all the sound. That's why it's so quiet. And on the newer models, they actually have 2 mufflers, which make it sound better, but it's still not very loud. Which brings me to the fifth con of this, which brings me to the fifth pro of this vehicle. Although, like I just said, these cars are sound good but quiet factory, but the pro is that Mopar, which is the performance of Dodge. Mopar, Dodge, Hemis are easy to make loud. Very, very, very easy. So, like I did on this vehicle, I cut the mufflers off and put a straight pipe on there. That's literally from all the way from the RT with the 5.7 liter to a Scat Pack to a Hellcat or even a Hellcat Red Eye. You do not necessarily have to go out and buy a Flowmaster, Corsa, Borla, any of those brands, because literally all you have to do is cut the muffler off, take it to a shop for about $100, $200, tell them cut those mufflers off, the mid muffler as people call it, cut it off, even leave the resonator, and it will get very much louder, which I can show you right now. This vehicle sounds like a true V8. Before I cut the muffler off, no, it was very much more quiet. And this goes for all of the trims. Anytime you cut those mufflers off, the volume will just shoot up and the driving experience is way much better. I'll even take y'all around to the back so you can see the actual, you can hear the actual muffler better. Sounds very good now. So I'm on top of a parking garage right now. So while I drive down, everybody put your seatbelt on. While I'm driving down, I'm gonna just talk about this car and some of the difference between this and now. First, I want to say that just some simple thing is that, like I said, the muffler, the exhaust sounds better now. They have actual mufflers on there instead of that what we call the suitcase. Two, I believe all Charger and Challenger models have the automatic headlight. This one doesn't. It's a little dial. This is actually a 5-speed automatic transmission. The new ones have 8 speeds, which is very efficient, very great, powerful, well, power obtaining and applying transmission. The gauge cluster looks a little different. I can show you. The gauge cluster looks a little different, and this instrument panel. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, all Challengers, no matter which trim you get, will have some form of touchscreen. I know most of them have the 8.4-inch touchscreen, which, if you watch my Scat Pack video, you can see all the performance pages, all this and all that, things like that. I also want to say, since I'm in a parking garage, yeah, everybody want to hear power. Everyone wants to hear that. Woo-hoo-hoo. It sounds so good. Another thing I want to say that maybe I'm just saying this because I love Dodge. Dodge, although my favorite car, I have two number one favorite cars, Camaro ZL1 and Lamborghini Aventador. And although, I'm sorry it's real dark, it'll get a little brighter in a minute. But although those are my favorite cars, my favorite car brand as a whole is Dodge. Why? Dodge has options for everyone, from someone 16 just learning to drive to somebody that's 110 wants something, to everyone in between, for the car enthusiasts, for the average family car, all in between. I love that. Even with this car now, as I stated, there are literally the 3.6 liter V6, the 5.7 liter Hemi V8, the 392 Scat Pack V8 Hemi, the 6.2 liter Hellcat Hemi, and the Red Eye Hemi. So even there, and that's just one vehicle out of all the other Dodge vehicles they make. So, you know, that's another thing that I love Dodge. But I will say, it is known that Dodge is more of a, I hate to say this, I don't want to say unreliable, but Dodge is the brand when people think of Dodge, like, oh no, don't get a Dodge. It may break down in 20,000 miles. It may break down in, which I say, there's some truth to it, because you can see a lot of people on YouTube who have Dodges brand new and they can random problems, just very random problems that happen. But so I'll take a risk. You know, if you buy a brand new car, that's what they make warranties for, things like that. So without any more talk, I'm sorry it's a little dark in here, but let's talk about the 6 Pro of this vehicle. The 6 Pro is the driving experience. And since I did the muffler delete, the sound. Now, as you can hear, I'm driving. This car is not stiff. It's not rough. It's a luxury almost. luxury feeling. Luxury feeling sports car, because it's not stiff, it's not extreme. Now there's some of the newer 392s and Hellcats that have adjustable suspension, but for the RT, you know, if you just got regular shocks and things, it still feels good. And when you driving, just like I said before, that muffler delete changes the whole driving experience, because who doesn't want to hear that big V8 rumbling every time you press the gas pedal? The sixth con of this vehicle is a combination of two things. This car, out of the Camaro and the Mustang, and if you want to just be extra, you can add in the Corvette or all those other cars too, but this is known to be a heavy car. And I will say, while the Camaro base SS has 450, 460 horsepower, and the Mustang GT, which is like a direct competitor, at those trim levels, the Mustang GT has like 460 horsepower. This has 372-ish. All those less, this is still a powerful V8, but with the weight and the less performance in comparison, this car will go. And on the new ones with the 8-speed, it takes off even stronger, because the transmission, a better transmission will let the power play down better. But this car does not just rock it. If you looking for something to just phew, or something to scare you, you would need either a 392 or a Hellcat. This car is a fun car. This car is I have a V8, and if I choose to beef it up, I can. But this is not the car to just knock your socks off. This is a fun, practical driving car. You get a good sound, you get good performance, you can actually take off, you can win some races, you can lose some, you can have fun. But when you press the pedal, and even with the exhaust screaming, this is not the car to just rock it off. So those are the top 6 pros and cons of a Dodge Challenger RT. I hope y'all love this. Don't forget to pray, put God first. Always wear your seatbelt. Never text and drive. Never phone and drive. And just like, subscribe, share, and comment. Share this to somebody. And just one more time before I leave. Sounds amazing. I love y'all. Granddaddy love everybody.